The YTPC, Joshua Stewart, pipe up north. Got another codger and a corn cob and tobacco tin Tuesday here for you. My corn cob, I just got one of my Missouri Meerschaum Legends that I have dedicated to codger blends. In it, got some more of that Dill's Best. This time I took just a little bit and rehydrated it. So it's took about a week, but it's at about the right moisture content now. It was staying lit pretty good, but of course then I start talking and then it goes out. But it's definitely a very codgery flavor to it. Kind of a little reminiscent of some of your other old school codgers. A little bit like Prince Albert. A little bit. Not completely. It almost seems like there's just a little bit of like a menthol or something in it that's kind of doing a little tingle on the tongue. Kind of a cooling effect. So I don't know if that was something that they put in here or if it's some effect with 80 years of age and rehydrating or what's going on there. But and I guess the method that I used for rehydration, I'm not going to say it's the best or that it'll even work for long term, but what it is, I put my tobacco in this little plastic cup that I got. I just picked these up at the dollar store. You can get like a dozen of them for $1, something like that. And then I don't have one handy here, but I had another one that I took a paper towel and wrapped it up and then put some distilled water in that. Then I put the 2 cups in a Ziploc bag and just checked it every day or so. And I think after about the fourth or 5th day, something like that, I noticed just a little bit of mold starting to grow on the paper towel, which, I mean, it was a saturated paper towel. So I took that out and put a fresh one in, and I think that was about 3 days ago, 2 or 3 days ago now, and now moisture content feels about right now. I mean, doesn't have that crispy dry like it did before. So, and I'll probably put this in a mason jar or something just to preserve it if I come back to it in a month or something. Don't want it all dried out again and have to start over. And the rehydrating that tin of Irish whiskey. The tin is empty right now. I took the little paper cupcake holder or whatever it is and the tobacco, and I put that in a bigger glass jar. And I did the same thing with a paper towel, kind of saturated in one of these. That's going to maybe take a little. It's getting closer, it's getting better, but it's still going to take another couple days to get the moisture where it needs to be. So yeah, and I think I mentioned that other video. I got a order put in for, maybe I didn't mention, I don't remember. I got my order in for Ken Byron Ventures. He did a big drop last Saturday. So I got a bunch of stuff that I've been wanting to get for a while that had been out of stock, and a bunch of the ones that I wanted, he got back in stock, so I figured I better jump on it. Now, I know I've mentioned, I think in previous videos a while back, that I just don't really feel like playing the game of, buying the limited editions. I know, like, is it Cornell and Deal? They'll drop their limited run something or another every once in a while. I've heard most of them are pretty good, but was it that Firebird or whatever it was that just dropped a couple weeks ago? Apparently, it like crashed the website and stuff like that. It's like I don't know if I need to play that game. But the Ken Byron stuff, I don't really consider his stuff the limited edition stuff, even though he does small batches and he does the same recipe, a couple times a year, and has a drop a couple times a year. So I don't really consider that the same thing. Although I do admit that it is frustrating sometimes when you want to put together an order and 3/4 of the stuff that you want is out of stock. Now I don't know if that's, I haven't been a customer of Ken Byron's for long enough to know, is that normal with him, that 3/4 of the stuff that you'd want is out of stock at any given time? Or is it just the times that we're in right now that there's a extra sense of urgency because of the scarcity, or perceived scarcity? So, I'm not really getting much flavor anymore out of this. I don't know if I've got it too hot or. I was getting some good flavor at the beginning. Like I say, very codgery. I thought I read someplace it's actually a Virginia-based blend, unless I'm confusing it with something else. Hmm. Yeah, it's kind of whatever flavor I was getting at the beginning, it seems to be disappearing now. Just kind of becoming hot air now, which is a little disappointing, but I seem to remember that it did kind of the same thing when I smoked it dry. It started out Kind of a very codgery, nutty, burley type flavor. But then lost it right away. Well, we're over 10 minutes in and I haven't even gotten to our tobacco tin yet. I better set this down and get into that before we get too deep into anything else. So we have today Matador Granulated Mixture by August Beck and Company, Chicago, Illinois. Now, obviously this tin is kind of tough shape. Lost a lot of the paint or whatever was on there. Printing. But you can tell that it definitely was a really pretty tin at one time. Now, as always, I did my 5 minutes of Google searching. I couldn't find much on this August Beck and Company, Chicago, Illinois. All I was able to find was like a obituary of sorts for the August Beck himself, which actually did have a little bit of information. That he was born in Germany and apprenticed in a tobacco shop in Germany. And came to the U.S. kind of to start a division of the company that he was working for in Germany. Well, then eventually he kind of branched off on his own and started his own company. And I believe 1855, he established the August Beck and Company. Then after a few years, I think it was less than 5 years, I don't remember offhand, he formed a partnership with another gentleman, and then it was called Beck and I think it was Worth, W-I-R-T-H if I remember right. Beck and Worth Company or something like that. In fact, I got it still pulled up here on my phone. I might as well try to share most accurate information I can about it. Okay, yeah. 1857, he entered into a partnership with Mr. Carl Worth. And it was called Beck and Worth. And then Mr. Worth passed away 1881, it looks like. And then Beck must have renamed it back to August Beck and Company after that. And it doesn't really say here what the company was actually named after the partner passed away. But I highly doubt that this is probably from 1855 to 1857. I'm guessing just probably 1890s to 1910, something like that. And Mr. Beck, he passed away in 1897, I believe it was. Then his son-in-law took over the company after that. But I couldn't find anything on, when the company was closed or if they were sold to another conglomerate of some sort. So, anyway, Kind of amazing that the metal underneath there is so shiny after over 100 years yet. No, is this actual tin maybe? I don't know if I got a magnet handy here that I can check and see if it's steel. I would have assumed it's steel, but maybe not. Maybe it is actual tin or tin plated steel, who knows. Must be plated or something because the inside has more of the gold color like the bottom does. And the inside looks more like regular bare steel with patina on it, which we're not getting very good light to be able to see that there, but so give you another look there. Matador Granulated Mixture. So now we're heading into another cold snap here in Minnesota. I think tonight they're talking low of like 23 below or something like that. I don't think it's supposed to get above 0 for a day or two. And I think later in the week we'll get a 1-day reprieve and it'll get up into the teens, but then we're going to get some snow again. And be back to probably single digits above 0 during the day and teens below 0 at night. But gets me thinking that spring isn't too far off, and been considering trying to grow some tobacco from seed this year. I bought a couple of plants at a greenhouse last year. Just bought one of those, what is it, 6-pack or 9-pack or whatever it was. They didn't do very good. I'm not really sure what happened. I maybe neglected them a little bit too. But I only had one plant that made it till frost, and that one was, it only got to be about 18 inches high, and I thought that stuff was supposed to get like 4 or 5 feet tall, and it just never really produced very well. I only got maybe less than 10 leaves harvested off of it, and the leaves were, maybe postcard size, if that. Probably not even postcard size. And I haven't really done anything with them yet. They're just kind of dried them and letting them sit for a while until I can figure out what to do with them. So right now they're crispy dry. So I might try to rehydrate them and put some sort of casing on them and do something. But I don't even know what variety they are. I just know they're sold as tobacco. So here we'll pose our question of the day. if any of you have ever grown tobacco from seed, is there any particular varieties or strains that you'd recommend, especially for northern climates? Now we'll get a few 100-degree days in the summer, and we'll get a fair amount of humidity too. So I mean, tomatoes grow well, and from what I understand, if tomatoes grow well, you should be able to grow tobacco pretty well. So obviously, we'd have to start it inside, and typically, I like to start depending on what I'm starting. Usually, sometime in March, and we can usually plant outdoors here mid to late May for frost sensitive plants. Because it's not unheard of to get a hard frost yet in the middle of May around here, so. I'd probably like to get one burley variety, one or two burley varieties, one or two Virginia varieties, and one or two Oriental varieties. This is getting a little bit of a rough edge somewhere on this. I'm not really sure how to describe it. But if it wasn't for the novelty of it being an 80-year-old tobacco, I don't think I'd smoke it. And maybe I'll have to try some other rehydration methods too that may preserve any flavor, or maybe whatever flavor it had when it dried out is lost forever. Or maybe it's just that it's a burley based tobacco, and see, I'm not real big into the straight burleys, although for whatever reason burley morning pipe is one of my favorites, so go figure. Yeah, so I guess the second question of the day is if you've got any rehydration methods that have worked for you, let me know. I was kind of hesitant to actually spray any water directly on this stuff, but yeah. So yeah, as it is, probably not recommended. And in fact, now it's starting to get a little bit of an off taste even. which I don't know how to describe it, just off. Old. Yeah. So I think I don't have a whole lot left here. I'll probably finish it up anyway and put something that I really like in a different pipe and have that after we're done here. So with that, I'll let you go. Joshua Stewart, Pipe Up North. Have a good day.